It's TK Friday, and today in the joy of editing, I'm doing a black and white conversion of a mountain landscape using the TK Magic Mixer. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly, and welcome to TK Friday. Today I'm pulling out the TK Magic Mixer to do a black and white conversion on this image. By the way, you can download this image and the PDF notes that go along with it and give this edit a try. Along with the TK Magic Mixer, I'll also be using the TK9 plugin for Photoshop. Now, before we get started, I want to remind you that you can save 15% off everything at the TK web store when you use my promo code DK15. The web store features TK9 version 4, the Magic Mixer and TK Grayscale bundle, training videos, and even some free software. And speaking of the Magic Mixer, that's what I'll be using today for this black and white conversion. The TK Magic Mixer and the TK Grayscale are bundled together for only $12, which is great value if you enjoy creating black and white images. When you use my promo code, I make a small commission, and that really helps support my channel, so thank you very much for your support. Well, let's go ahead and dive right in. And by the way, if you don't yet own the TK Magic Mixer, you can use Photoshop's Channel Mixer, which is what the Magic Mixer controls. The Magic Mixer just makes it so much easier to work with. The first thing I'm going to do is go to my Magic Mixer plugin. Now, you could click the plus here to add a new Magic Mixer layer, or you could click this randomize button, or you could click any one of these channel buttons. A lot of times I'll start off with the different channels like the red channel, the green, blue, cyan, magenta, and yellow, and see which one I like the best. And there's other times when I just use the randomize button, which is what I did for this one. So every time you click the randomize button, you're going to get a different random black and white look. And what I did was I just kept going through these, and when I found one I sort of liked, what I did was then adjusted my cyan, red, magenta, green, and yellow, blue sliders just to, to tweak it and hone it in. Now, one of the cool things about the Magic Mixer is no matter where you adjust these adjustments here, you're always going to maintain a total of 100%, which is really ideal when you're working with Photoshop's Channel Mixer. So watch these sliders as I move the Channel Mixer down here. Notice that when I adjust one slider, all of the sliders adjust with it, and that total of 100% is always kept intact, which is very important. Because if you go over 100%, you have a great chance of clipping your highlights. If you go under 100%, you have a really great chance of clipping shadows. Now, again, for this image, I kept clicking the randomize button, and when I got one I liked, I made some adjustments here. Right now, if you click through here and you say, shoot, there was one further back I liked, you can click this back arrow. You could step backward in time or step forward in time for your randomizations, which is really nice. You can also click this button to save out presets. You can adjust your brightness and contrast. For this image, I didn't. And now I'm going to show you the settings that I finally came up with. And if you want to use the same settings I've used, just come up to your properties panel for the Photoshop Channel Mixer and click on the red channel right here and type in 37. Type your tab key to go down, type in 80, type your tab key and type in -17. And now what you can do is for your Magic Mixer, or if you don't have the Magic Mixer, just use these values here. If you do have the Magic Mixer, click on the background layer and click on the Magic Mixer layer, and it will sync it up. You see the numbers here now, 37, 80, and -17. So that was my starting point. And right after I adjust my Magic Mixer, then I click this button right here on the Magic Mixer, which gives us a color luminosity adjustment. Now we're working with the colors. If we start with red, any red color will become darker or lighter, or yellows would become lighter or darker. And so I continue to adjust all of these different sliders just to fine tune this black and white image and get it to look the way I want it to look. It's just that simple, but very effective. I went ahead and paused the video and entered all the numbers I came up with for my color luminosity adjustments here. I'll shut off this layer. Here's before, here's after. Just a minor change, but I like it. And now click on your Magic Mixer layer to make it active, because now we're going to continue to edit this image in Photoshop. Now at this point, I'm studying my image and I'm looking at these dark clouds up in here, and I'd like to make them a little bit darker. So I'm going to come up to the multi-mask panel and I'm going to click on this button right here to go into the blend diff mask interface. Now I'm looking for shadows. So right now we're on lights 1. Let's go to darks 1. So I'll click on darks 1. There's darks 1. Here's darks 2. And this is the shadow range that I want right here. But let me show you something cool that we can do. And if you watched my last week's video on the blend diff mask interface and the new changes, I showed some of this stuff in there. I really love this new update Tony made here. So I have darks 2. Come down to the tools section right here and click this button. What you're going to do is put a black mask on this group right here. So it's really hiding the blend diff adjustment. And then what you want to do is click on this brush tool. And right now I'm at 100% opacity, 100% flow. And now all we do is just paint in the area that we want to be affected. And you can see the magenta overlay over the area that I'm painting. So we're just going to paint all of these dark shadows in here down into here. If you overshoot an area, you could click on the eraser tool and you can erase some of that away. Like I got some down in here. Maybe I don't want it right up in here. So you can also use the eraser tool. Now we need to output this. So I'm going to output this. I want to darken those dark shadows in the clouds. I'll use a brightness contrast adjustment. So we'll click this button right here. And now with the brightness adjustment, I'll move it to the left to darken up those shadows. Now, if you look at this layer, that darks 2 blend diff is on that layer. Pretty cool. Now you can always click the edit blend diff button and change that value if you want to for blend diff. But I'm going to bring this brightness down to right there, -125. And I think I'll increase the contrast too. And we'll take that up to like 65. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Pretty cool. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, you see this cloud up in here. I ended up using the generative fill to remove that cloud. I just didn't like it in there. So if you look at my image, it doesn't have that cloud up in there. I just removed it. I just wanted to point that out. And now I'm studying the image and I'm still looking at this left side over into this area here. I just want to darken these clouds up a little more. So here's what we do. Let's come back up to the multi-mask panel, click on this button to go into the blend diff mask interface again. And I want a darks mask. Here's darks 1, here's darks 2, here's darks 3. And I think darks 3 isolates that rather nicely. So what we're going to do is click this button again to hide the blend diff. And now click on the brush tool. Again, 100% opacity, soft edge. I'm just going to paint in this area right in here. Right like that, right up into there, down into here. Now I overshot a little bit. Click on the eraser tool. I'll make this brush a little bit smaller and I'll just paint off the edge of this mountain right here. And now let's output that to another brightness contrast adjustment layer. So we'll click this button and let's just reduce the brightness down to like right there, -132. Now let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. And I like that. Now, as I study the image, I'm looking at these highlights in this cloud, some of these highlights over here and up in here, and I just want to reduce those down a little bit. This is really easy to do. Let me show you what we do. Come up to the multi-mask panel, click on the curves adjustment layer button, and what I want to do is take this right side of the curve and just drag it down to somewhere like right about here. Look at these clouds right in here. I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after, but I have an issue because it's going over the entire image. So here's how we can remedy that. Let's put a black hide all mask on here. So come to the Converse CX panel and click this button right here. And now we don't see the adjustment. And now we're going to click on our white paintbrush at 100% opacity, 100% flow, soft edge. And what we're going to do is now just paint over these clouds right in here, just to dim them down. You see that right in here, maybe over in here, and we'll get this cloud right in here, just to tone those down a little bit. That's all I want to do. Takes the edge off them. Now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here is after. The next thing I want to do is darken up some of the darkest shadows here in the foreground only. So come up to the multi-mask panel. This time I'll use a luminosity mask. Click on this button right here. And I want a darks mask. Here's darks 1. Here's darks 2. I'm trying to find the range I want. Here's darks 3. Here's darks 4. Darks 4 gets the area I want. Now I only want it in the foreground. So a quick way of getting just the foreground is click on Photoshop Selection Brush from your tool well. And then what we're going to do with a nice soft edge brush is just paint over this area in the foreground that we want. Like right down in through here, just get all this area, just that easy. Paint that all in. That way we'll select that entire area right there. And then what you want to do is click this button here to mask the mask. A Gaussian blur dialog comes up. You can blur the edges by adding a pixel radius to this. I don't want to, so I'm just going to click OK. And now we selected that area. And now I'm going to output this to another brightness contrast adjustment because I just want to darken the shadows. So click this button right here. And I'll take the brightness slider, and it's only targeting those very dark tones. You see that? Isn't that cool? And I'll take it down to right there, -15. And let's add a little bit of contrast to that also, like 25. Now look at the shadows. I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after. I just noticed something I missed. You see this little light area coming here? I just wanted to tone that down a little bit. I'm going to come back to this layer where I added that curves adjustment to tone down the lightest lights, and click on my white brush tool at 100% opacity, and I just want to paint over this area just to tone that down a little bit right in there. Okay, I forgot that. And now I'll click on this brightness contrast adjustment layer, and we'll go from here. And now what I want to do is, you see this light area in here? I just want to bring the value up in this area a little bit, kind of to match the lightness here. And I'll also lighten this area up too. I want all three of these areas to be close to each other in lightness. I'll work on this first. As I told you, I love the updates in the new Blend Diff mask interface, so I'm going back to it again. Let's click this button. Now we default at Lights 1. Let's go to Lights 2. And you see how Lights 2 is really picking out this area here, but let's go down to the tools right here and click on this button to go into Gradient Masks. And let's click on Radial Gradient. I don't have multi checked on or invert checked on because I'm only drawing one gradient and I don't need it inverted. It's a radial gradient, so check it out. I'll just click here and drag out a gradient. Now we can adjust the shape. I could click right here and pull this down, make it more of an oval shape. I can make this larger just to encompass this entire area. And you can drag this and move this around. You can adjust its feathering, how far it feathers out. And I think somewhere right around there should be good. And now all I need to do is output this. And this time I'll output it to a curves adjustment layer. So we're going to click this button right here. So you see right here at the top of the curve, I'll click this point right here and drag it over to the left and see how it lightens up that area. And I'm going to take it right to about here. Now let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. Again, before and after, and I like that. It's relatively close to matching this light level. And now I want to lighten up this area right in here to match these two. So let's come back to the multi-mask panel. Again, let's go back into the Blend Diff mask interface by clicking this button. This is Lights 1, this is Lights 2. I'm trying to target this light value in here, and here is Lights 3. And Lights 3 hits the areas that I want. Let's use another radial gradient. So click this button right here, click on radial, and I'm going to click right here and drag a radial gradient out. I'm going to adjust the shape by pulling down here. And let's make this a little bit larger just to encompass this whole area right in here. And I think that should be good. Let me see. Do I need to feather this out any? Maybe a little bit to somewhere right around here should be good. I'll output that to another curves adjustment layer. So we'll click this button right here. Now, I could click on this point right here and drag it to the left to lighten it up. Or the other thing you can do is just come right down here, see the triangle, drag this to the left. That'll do the same thing. So let's just take it over to maybe somewhere right about here should be good. Now look at that area. I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after. See, these areas are all pretty close in value. That may be a little too strong. Maybe I'll pull this back just a little bit more. Maybe right there. Again, here's before and here's after, and I like that. Now what I want to do is add a freehand vignette. In other words, I just want to draw most emphasis to this area right in here. So let's get the Photoshop selection brush. Click this button right here from your tool well. With a nice soft edge brush, what we're going to do is just paint like right around this area right in here, over to here. If your TK actions aren't open, click a TK button on the Combo or 6 panel, click on Freehand Vignette, and that's all you have to do. Now, let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. Now, if the effect is too strong, you could lower the layer opacity. And an easy way to do that is with TK Opacity Plus. Right now, we're at 30%. That's where it defaults at. Here's 20%. Here's 10%. Here's 50%. But I think 30% is good. I'll click on the 3. You could pick this up at Tony Kuiper's web store. I have links for it in the description below. You can also pick up Brush Pilot to help you adjust your brush opacity, flow, and hardness. Again, you could pick that up for free at Tony Kuiper's web store. Just 2 more steps and we're done. I want to add like a selenium tone to this. I think it'll look really nice. So here's what we do. Let's come back to the Magic Mixer layer and click on it and look for your Magic Mixer. And what you want to do is click this button right here. When you do, you're going to add a hue saturation adjustment layer to the top of the layer stack. Notice that colorize is checked on. Now I want a selenium tone. So you want to be around like the 230 area. And for me, I decided on like 233. Now that's way too strong. So we're going to reduce that saturation level. So let's come down to like 7. For a really nice selenium effect, we want to keep it mainly in the shadows. So let's use Blend If to do that. So click on the Edit Blend If button right here. And let's click on Shadows 1. And that will only put it in the shadows. So that's a nice little tip for you. And now let me shut off this layer. Here's before and here's after. Now you can leave this step out if you don't want to add a tone to your image, but I really like it for this image. Now for the last step, you can leave this out if you don't like grain in your black and white images, but I like a little bit of grain. I think black and white images look more authentic with it, so let's add some grain. I'll click the X to close the Edit Blend If panel. And now come down and click on the hamburger menu. And you're going to find the grain button right here, so give that a click. Now, I just want to add a little bit of grain. Take the amount slider, and I'll drag it the whole way to the right. See all that grain in there? Now, you don't want to go that crazy. I just want to be realistic here, so I'm going to add like 36 should be good. Now, for the size, I think 25 is good, and the roughness, I'm going to leave that at 50. But here's a way to make it more realistic, the grain. So grain mainly lives in the shadows and the midtones. So what we're going to do is click on the Edit Blend If button. We're going to click on Midtones 3 just to apply the grain to the midtones, but I want to take it a little more into the shadows. So click on this shadow top handle right here. Click it and let's drag it over to the left so it goes into more of the shadows and over to about here. And this way it'll go into some of the darker shadows, but not the real dark shadows. It'll ease off of those and that'll make your grain look more realistic. Well, there it is, everyone. The edit is finished today. Let's see where we started from. I'm going to come to the combo panel and click the before after button. We started out here and we end up here, and I really like the way this one turned out. Now, don't forget, you can download this stock image along with the PDF notes. I'll have links in the description below for you. Well, there it is, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you enjoyed today's tutorial, please give this video a like, share it with your friends, and if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. Click the bell notification icon, click all so that you receive all notifications, and then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll get notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today in the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly, and I will see you all right here next time. But until then, happy editing.